Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Chopping Block Podcast. My name is Dee Stapleton, and every week I sit down with a different guest for a chat about food. Some of my guests make their living in the food or drinks trade, while some just love food. I chat to a variety of people, exploring a little bit of their lives through food. Some of my guests you may have heard of before, some you definitely won't know, but what unites all these people are the stories they have to tell about the role food and drink plays in their lives. So sit back, put your feet up, pour yourself a good glass of red wine, and enjoy this episode of The Chopping Block. My guest this week could well be my most challenging interviewee yet. Unlike all my guests so far, she isn't a food producer, a food business owner, a blogger, a restaurateur, or a barista. No, she plays a much more important role than that as the person I share most of my meals with. I've known her for well over 20 years, and in that time we've shared thousands of meals and opened many a bottle of vino together. She's the sorry soul who has to eat all of my cooking, and then she usually has to clean up afterwards. We've had some truly unforgettable experiences dining together, including eating with Lou Reed in New York, romantic candlelit dinners al fresco in Sorrento, getting the grand tour of Neville Maguire's kitchen from the man himself, and of course, regularly dancing around our own kitchen after a good steak and a couple of glasses of wine too many. Now also the yummy mummy to our unbelievably cute daughter Hannah, I've asked her onto the pod because this weekend sees us celebrating our wedding anniversary. She is of course my beautiful wife, Dee Stapleton. So Dee, welcome to the pod and thanks for sitting down with me.
Hi Paddy, thanks for having me.
It's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yes, nice intro.
So we would know each other probably better than anyone else. So do you think you might surprise me at all today with some of your answers?
I don't think so. Maybe one or two curveballs, but
okay, we'll see.
I think we'll be okay.
Okay, we'll start as we always do. We'll get a little bit of a flavour of your taste with 20 either-or questions. They'll just help us all to learn a little bit about you. Interpret them any way you want, just fly through them, or if you want to chat about them, we will. So, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I have done this week that I haven't done before is, because you're my wife, I've written down what I think your answers are going to be.
Oh, very good.
So we'll see at the end
Okay.
how I did or how badly I did. Okay, number one. Pancakes or French toast?
Ooh, French toast.
Espresso martini or cosmopolitan?
Cosmo.
Dessert or cheese plate?
Cheese.
Poached or scrambled?
Poached.
Basil or rosemary?
Basil.
Apple and goat cheese salad or steak and egg hash?
Apple and goat cheese salad.
Good man, Mickey. Dinner with friends or dinner with family?
With friends.
Clean up after dinner or wait until the next morning?
Oh, clean up after dinner. But we never do it.
Old fashioned or whiskey sour?
Whiskey sour.
Knife and fork or fingers?
Knife and fork.
Boyne Valley Blue or Boyne Valley Bawn?
Blue.
Port or no port?
Port.
Cappuccino or flat white?
Flat white these days.
Mushroom sauce or pepper sauce?
Mushroom sauce.
Wooden board or slate?
Wooden board.
Cheese and onion or salt and vinegar?
Cheese and onion.
White pudding or black pudding?
Black pudding.
Steak on a stone or let the chef cook it?
Let the chef cook it.
Is a Jaffa cake a cake or is it a biscuit?
Oh, it's a biscuit.
And last question, daddy or chips?
Daddy, I suppose.
Okay, I did okay. Some very obvious ones. I knew you'd go for basil over rosemary. I knew you'd go for Cosmo over espresso martini. The ones I got wrong, I thought you'd go no port because of we had a night where we drank a little bit too much port and she swore off it for a while. Yeah,
but it's so delicious.
I got the rest of them. I wasn't sure about daddy or chips, but I'm happy you went for daddy. Okay, so let's talk about food in your life. I mean, it's our wedding anniversary. We've shared many meals together.
Yeah.
It's a big part of our life, and it's probably what made us kind of fall in love, I suppose.
Yeah.
Our experiences with food,
Yeah.
plenty of romantic meals and cooking and sharing.
Definitely.
But let's go back before that. Your family, you have your mum and dad, obviously, and 3 sisters?
2 sisters.
Sorry.
We are a family of 3.
I might be a little bit nervous here with this one.
Yes, I have 2 older sisters, 2 brilliant older sisters.
And you're the baby?
I'm the baby, the youngest, yeah.
And your dad was a chef?
Yes, is, retired now, but yeah, a chef all his life, yeah.
And would you say he gave you a love of food?
No.
No?
No, my love for food came much later in life. Daddy is a fantastic chef, but he You know, Daddy celebrated his 80th birthday in August, just past 2020, and he would be what you would call an old school chef. You know, went to college in Athenry, I'm pretty sure, which was a culinary school at the time. Then he went to Switzerland to train. So it was very different to the food that we have now, and even the food of, you know, the 90s, the Celtic Tiger and all of that. Daddy was it was carvery a lot of the time was
Feeding
what
masses.
he was doing. Feeding masses. He did a lot of functions, weddings, you know, golf societies, all that kind of stuff.
Do you think, I mean, going to Zurich to train, that would have been unusual, I would imagine, for somebody from Dundalk in the 60s to be heading off to Switzerland?
Yeah, do you know what? I've never really talked to him much about it.
Really?
I only just know it. I'd say if I ever sat down properly and...
No, leave that to me. I'll get him on
yeah,
here.
there you go. There's another pod for you. I don't really know. You know, Daddy very much is and was a free spirit, so I'm sure to him it didn't seem that strange, but maybe to the guys he was in school with that he left behind, who probably just got jobs, you know, doing what their dad did, or, you know, so you know, I know he did say that when he told his mammy and his daddy, Nellie and Jack, that he wanted to go off and do chefing, I think they did kind of think, what's that?
So would he have cooked at home?
No, because he was never at home.
So your mum was the chef at home?
Yeah, because Daddy was always working.
Yeah.
Always working.
Late hours, long shifts.
Late hours, long shifts, weekends, 365 days a year. Yeah.
It must have been tough.
Yeah, it was very tough. Tough on him and tough on Mammy, and, you know, trying to rear a family. And
But I suppose, like all the parents in those days, you do what you do to raise a family.
that's it, yeah. Exactly.
And was your mum a good cook?
Yeah, she's very good, yeah.
And what kind of food would you been growing up on? The regular?
Yeah, just the regular. You know, occasions were special. So, you know, Christmas to us was very different than Christmas of my friends. So, like, we didn't do turkey and ham.
Wow.
We didn't know. When it came to Christmas Day, after, you know, 24 days of serving turkey and ham and turkey and ham and turkey and ham to hundreds of people in functions and weddings and, as I said, golf societies and all that kind of stuff, the last thing Mammy or Daddy, because Mammy worked alongside with Daddy, the last thing they wanted to see was turkey or ham. So we had, you know, goose and duck and steak and beef Wellington.
Anything other than
turkey and ham.
And if you were telling your friends what you're having for Christmas
they
dinner?
thought I was weird. Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Like when, you know, my friends would be saying, oh yeah, so we have soup for starter and then we might have melon. I was like, you know, we had oysters.
So they did instill a bit of a love of food if you're having oysters as a child.
Well, this was it, but it was literally just on those occasions. Like, and, you know, there was prawn cocktails, which were obviously really fancy in the 80s. And, you know, but I remember having avocado and prawns when I was about 10, and avocados are all the rage now, whereas I was like, yeah, I'm eating them a good 20 odd years, you know, and God knows how expensive they were then.
Yeah, I can only imagine, but as you say, it was Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas for a chef, avocados.
Yeah.
So then you got a bit older and you worked in the Headford, which is where we met.
Yes, yeah.
So you started off in the restaurant?
Yeah, well, it was a kind of a dual thing. So I started the summer, I did my leaving cert, and I would work in the Vanilla Pod from when it opened, let's say at 5 o'clock till maybe about 10, and then I would go in and work in the Celtic and work there till...
Which is the bar beside it.
The bar beside it, and then part of the nightclub. I hated working in the Vanilla Pod.
Why?
I was useless. I was a brutal waitress.
Why? No patience? Or?
No, I just couldn't. I don't know what it was. I would get all jumbled taking the orders because everything was handwritten, and I've always been quite a slow writer. I write really neat, and I didn't understand what shorthand was. You know, I wanted to write every word, and, you know, someone would be shouting their main course, starter and dessert at me, and I'd still be writing down what their starter was, and the next person was... I just couldn't pick it up. I didn't have the... I didn't have
that mentality,
the knack for it. And then it was quite, you know, the Vanilla Pod was new. It had, because it was the Headford had recently had a revamp, and there used to be the old restaurant where I remember we celebrated my sister Siobhan's 21st, and if I'm right, it was kind of what the I don't even know what it's called anymore.
What the nightclub is.
The nightclub is now, but then the walls got knocked and they made the Vanilla Pod, and it was so fancy.
Yeah.
You know, this restaurant in Kells, we had nothing really like it. So you would handwrite the order, and then you had to go to a computer and type it in so it would print out in the kitchen, and I was always getting things wrong. The chefs are always giving out
And
to
I
me.
can imagine the chefs.
Yeah, they were the new generation chefs. So as I said, Daddy was old school. And they were all from Dublin, and they'd been brought down, and they were young and passionate, and they were like, I suppose, the Gordon Ramsay. They were fiery, and they'd roar and scream and curse at you, and I just had no patience for them. I could not cope. If someone roared at me, I roared right back.
I'd say they loved you.
Oh, I couldn't cope. And Daddy was working in the Headford, and the kitchen was a massive kitchen, and you had the lounge kitchen, which is where Daddy was, and the vanilla pod kitchen, but there was literally a partition between them. And the amount of times Daddy had to bite his tongue to not come round the corner and fire a knife.
I was going to say there's a lot of knives in those kitchens.
So it was just not a good combination. So I made my peace with it, and I think we all agreed that I should just go to the Celtic full time.
Very good. And I was glad because that's where we met.
Yes.
God, it must be over 20 years ago, half a life ago.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy working in the Headford?
Loved it.
And was it the serving the drink? Was it the crack? Was it the crack after serving the drink with the drink?
It was everything. I started out on the floor collecting glasses. It was good. It was proper the way they did it. Like you had to not pay your dues, but you didn't just get to fly in. Like I was trained properly how you pull a pint, how you make cocktails. It was great. So started out on the floor. That was really, really busy because it was booming, absolutely booming at the time. What year was this? 2001. So it was just after the millennium. There was lots of money. The Celtic would be busy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It was kind of the place to be seen.
It was completely the place to be seen, and it was because it was great. It was run well. Fergal Farley was the manager. He ran a great show. You had great staff. I made some amazing friends that I'm still friends with now. We just had so much fun. So much fun.
And you also met some great people the other side of the bar.
Yes.
Yes.
Obviously. But I did actually. Some of like my best friends now were customers that I'm still great friends with.
Still friends with now.
Yeah.
And was there food in the Celtic at the time?
It came again later. There wasn't. And again, I was a little bit anxious about this, but it came later. Again, they did up the lounge, and they had to get rid of the cafe where the carvery is served. So again, they reconfigured, and how they do it. The Headford has been through so many changes, and it just grows all the time. But the food would be served from the kitchen through the nightclub. But you were trying to filter through all the lounge staff and all the Celtic staff, because the Celtic was a real sports pub. So every Saturday and Sunday you'd have, that's probably I think how we met. You'd be coming down with Brian watching matches.
Me and my friend Brian would come down, and we'd be hungover after a night out, and we'd be ordering, if I remember right, it was 3 Yorkshire puddings, a heap of stuffing and a heap of gravy was the order.
And pints of my wadgie, because they couldn't stomach anything else because they were so hungover. And then when the lounge was finished and everything was back to normal, I think they said, why aren't we serving food in here? So they created a whole new menu. I
suppose the whole concept of the gastropub was developed.
Actually. Yeah.
And how did you find the food at that stage?
Again, still I wasn't great. So thankfully I was allowed to because I was a good bar person.
Barmaid?
No, you have to be politically correct. And I think they said, okay, you just stay there. Like, I was quick, I was efficient, I made sure things got done. So they were like, you just stay behind there. I was good at tallying up the bills. When people wanted to split tables, you're good at dealing with people. Yeah, good at dealing with people. And then they brought in waitresses and waiters who had experience.
So they knew what they're doing, the right people in the right place.
Completely.
And would you have eaten much of the food in the Headford when you were working there?
Yeah.
Good food?
Really, really good. The food in the Headford is just...
Which is why we ended up getting married there, I suppose. But we'll come back to that later on.
Yes.
And you were in college at the time?
Yeah, so I was working there part-time and in college in Dundalk first for a year, and then I did 2 more years in Athlone and worked every Saturday, Sunday. But I loved working there so much, and the hours were there if you wanted them. So there was many a time where, I was meant to go back on Sunday. My parents don't actually even know this. I was meant to go back on Sundays, and I would say I had gone back, but I would actually just go and work in the Celtic and then get the Val Russell bus at like 7 o'clock the next morning.
And you'd probably been up half the night having pints afterwards.
Yeah,
And when you were in college, were you living then there?
I was in digs in Dundalk, which was no fun. I was living with like a really old woman in a small house, but thankfully one of my best friends had a really cool student apartment, so I just spent all the time up there.
Partying.
Yeah, partying, yeah.
And not going near any boys.
No.
And tell me, what was your diet like when you were in college? Were you cooking for yourself? Obviously, that lady was cooking for you.
No, actually, Mammy and Daddy, there was no food provided. So Mum and Dad would send me back on Sunday with, you know, kind of my meals. I think maybe, no, yeah. God, it feels like so long ago, I can't even remember. But to answer your question, my diet was shocking.
Really?
Oh, shocking.
Was it junk food? Was it?
It wasn't even, but it was like, you know, I wouldn't eat breakfast and then I'd go to college and get like jam buns and sausage rolls and whatever was in the cafeteria. Cafeteria, canteen, whatever you want to call it, you know, or it'd be soup and loads of white bread, and then I might not eat dinner, and then, you know, you were probably maybe getting a 3-in-1 from the Chinese. You know, it was just, there was no such thing as nutrition.
And you loved your food?
Yeah, see, yeah, no, yes is the answer to that. I love it. I've loved food. You know, I've always been a good eater. You know, I was never a picky child. I never, you know, there was nothing I wouldn't eat. I ate way too much. I had, you know, way too much.
And were you a big girl?
Oh yeah,
Really?
For all my life. Yeah, all my life.
And what happened?
I again was working in the Celtic. It got worse. So I was always a big girl. Not big. How do you describe
Curvy?
it? No, because
Stout?
curvy wasn't even a thing then.
Dare I say jolly?
No, it's just, I think it's just my genes. And you know, my sisters, we would kind of have similar figures. I suppose my aunties, even if I think back to my granny, like my mammy's mammy, you know, it's, you know, we've big legs and big bums, but we're not overweight, but we're just not slim. You know, the way you have slim, petite girls, we're not slim and we're not petite, but we're not overweight either. So that was the way I was my whole life. But then when I got into my late teens, early 20s, I definitely just was overweight because I was drinking too much and eating loads of junk food.
Yeah.
And no exercise.
And was it part of it working in the hotel where you know, the usual bar staff, you sit drinking till all hours of the night, you're not eating healthy because you're on long shifts. If you're in a split shift, chances are you go for a pint.
Yeah, and I did a lot of split shifts. And then, you know, I partied a lot myself as well. So there was a lot of alcohol and a lot of junk food, you know. Then, you know, go to the chipper van at 3:00 in the morning and then probably wake up the next morning and go and get a breakfast roll. You know, it was that kind of stuff.
How much changed?
I went to a vintner's dinner dance as part of the Celtic Headford, and, you know, all delighted with myself, all went. It was my first one. I went with a big gang of friends, loaded the staff from the Headford, and that was in the November, I can't remember the year, and loads of pictures were taken, and like there was no such thing as like mobile phones, smartphones, all that kind of stuff. So you went and you got your pictures developed off your camera, and I will never forget when I saw the pictures. I did not know who that person was in the pictures. Yeah, even though I was looking at that person in the mirror every day, when I saw it in a camera, or in a photograph, it was shocking. So that was late November. I think the vintners used to always be on around the same weekend. It's kind of like Thanksgiving or something like that. Yeah. And then I said, well, there's no point. I was adamant. Oh, I was 20. That's how I remember, because I was to turn 21 in the February, and I was setting myself like a little target. So I said, there's no point starting in December because it's Christmas, and I'm going to like drink all over Christmas.
So even though you wanted to make a change, you wanted to enjoy yourself
but
first.
I didn't want to set myself up for a fall either. So I said, no, 1st of January, I'm going to start. So I went to Weight Watchers literally the first week in January as my New Year's resolution, and my 21st was to be in February, which was going to be about 6 weeks later. And I set that like as a little target to have lost a certain amount, and I just went by that, and I reached my Weight Watchers goal in the August.
Which was?
4 stone.
You lost 4 stone?
Yeah.
In 7-8 months?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Like, I know when you set your mind to something, you're quite stubborn about it.
No, it wasn't hard, which is funny. What I loved about Weight Watchers, even though I know the old Weight Watchers was actually, like, again, not really, they weren't concerned about nutrition. It was the point system, if anybody's familiar with it, where you had a certain amount of points that you were allowed every day. And once you stuck within those points, it didn't matter how much sugar was in something or how much fat was in something, you had a little calculator that you pointed at, and once it was within your points, it was fine. But it worked. It did work, and you could do things like save your points. So, like, I was a devil. If I knew I was going out on a Saturday night, I would save my points from Monday to Friday so that I could drink loads on Saturday.
When you say save your points, did you not eat, or did you just eat enough of the 0 point stuff?
Eat enough of the 0 point.
Give me an example
stuff.
of the 0
So,
point
like,
stuff.
you would be able to make like zero soup, which was just vegetables with salt and pepper and water, and I would just eat that for like literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay, it's maybe not be the most varied thing, but it's healthy.
It's healthy, yeah, I suppose. But you were able to control it, and because I would be a bit OCD-ish, I did like the structure of it.
Oh, I know.
You know, and you went to your meetings once a week, and you got weighed, and you know, it was a great feeling every time you got up on that scales, and there was a little minus.
Was there a fear of the shame of standing up and saying you weren't in?
No, because I was sticking to it, and I was only ever up for a reason. So I remember going away for a weekend with a gang of friends. We went to Westport, and I came back and I was like up 4 pounds, and I was like, yep. I said I'm surprised it's not more, because I ate, drank and did all the stuff you're not supposed to do. But then the following week I was down 5.
Okay.
So I lost the 4 plus 1.
And so the August, excuse me. So the August you were down 4 stone.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Did you struggle after that?
A little bit to maintain that, yeah, and I've never ever gotten back to what I was in that August. I've always at my lightest since then. I was probably half a stone up on that, but I think that is what is proper for me.
Yeah,
I could never maintain.
And did you ever think there was a danger you might try and like it might get worrying and you'd lose too much weight?
No. I love food too much. No, and physically I don't think I'd ever be. It's not in me. I'm not built that way.
Yeah.
I'm never ever going to be a skinny malink.
Yeah, but you're like, from my point of view, I think you're beautifully curvy.
Oh, fabulous. Amazing. Thanks very much.
But like, say now, do you find it now your battle with it? I mean, as a man, we kind of don't understand a women's battle with weight. Because as a man, you can do whatever you want. And, you know, we don't have the struggle you have with your body's changing and things like that. So you had a baby a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
A beautifully, wonderful baby.
Yeah.
But do you find that are you used to your body? Do you find you're
No. But I never was. This is the thing. And I suppose there's the lucky women out there that don't have that battle. But 90% to 95%, like where I work is predominantly female. And you have every shape and size, and they all feel the same. Not happy. I need to lose a few pounds.
If they're not happy, if they're happy with one thing, they're not happy with another.
Yeah, so I don't think any woman ever, unfortunately, ever is completely content with themselves.
But are you more comfortable than you would have been?
I've learned to live with it, and I've learned to accept it, I suppose.
You can't really be a skinny girl and have lots of fun, can you?
But see, some people can, and this is, I suppose, the frustration or the annoyance on behalf of the likes of me, for want of a better description, is it's like, but why? I do exactly what she does, but she doesn't gain 10. Like, I have a good weekend. You're talking 4 or 5 pounds easily up on the scales. That's just me. That's just.
But you're not weighing yourself all the time.
No, because
you've learned to deal with that.
I stopped weighing myself about.
And is that an age thing? You're more comfortable with yourself?
No, I actually joined a gym and got a better understanding of nutrition and body shape and inches versus this, weight, that and the other. And you know, in my mid to when we were getting married, basically, I was probably at my slimmest in measurements, but I was nearly 1.5 stone heavier than I was when I reached my goal in Weight Watchers.
Isn't that mad?
But it's a new understanding.
Yeah, so it just takes time to get to there.
Yeah, and I would still not be there. You know, I think I'll always not battle with it as very strong, but it'll always be there. I'll always be like, no, I just wish I was, you know, I wish my thighs were a bit smaller, or I wish, you know.
But that is a very, this could be completely sexist. It's a very woman thing.
It is.
Like, you could be the skinniest girl in the world and your eyebrows are too big.
This is it, and that's what I'm saying. I work with so many girls and I see it every day.
And that helps with the understanding, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll move on from that a little bit, because that's, you know, it's a good story. And I mean, it's kind of, is it inspiring to hear about somebody who kind of lost so much weight in a healthy way and then became more comfortable with it. It probably is.
Yeah.
So now you're a mammy.
Yes.
To our beautiful daughter Hannah. Have I said beautiful too many times? It's Hannah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
How do you feel about her with food? I mean, do you feel with the relationship you had with food, do you feel like you have to have a responsibility to make sure she has a healthy relationship with food?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how are you going to do that?
I really don't know.
And just for the listener, I'm going to be involved in this, but for the purpose of this interview, this podcast, I'm talking to Dee like an interviewee.
Yeah.
Go on.
I do. I have real concern now. I worry about everything when it comes to Hannah. It's just first time mammies in general, daddies in general. I just think it's the nature.
She's eating too much. She's eating too little.
Yeah.
Her poo is too much. Her poo is too little.
But I do where I want her to have a good I love food. Full stop.
Yeah.
Next sentence. I don't have a great relationship with food. I love it. I hate it. It's my enemy. It's my best friend.
Yeah.
It's a constant battle. I don't want that for Hannah. I want her to understand food from a health and nutritional point of view. I want her to enjoy food, but I don't want her life to be ruled by, no, I'm not going to have that. There's too many calories in that, or there's this or there's that. I'm constantly looking at the labels on things, and I just don't want. I want her to have a good knowledge and understanding of food. Ultimately 100% to enjoy it the way we do and the way it should be enjoyed, but I don't want her to be consumed by calorie counting.
And is there danger, and I mean I'm asking this of myself as well, is there danger in trying to do that you make her overthink food?
And that's what I don't want. So it's finding the balance. At the moment, like she eats loads. She's petite, and I was only having this conversation with one of my very bestest friends, Roisin, there you go, shout out on the podcast, who's just become a new mammy herself. And I think I finally, because she's my daughter and because of the body shape I have, I've the big legs, and I'm taller and I'm broad, and I assumed she was going to be like me, but then I forget, actually
she's half me.
Paddy's involved in this as well. And your family are real slim, and all your sisters are really slim and athletic, and your sisters would be those girls who can more or less kind of eat whatever they want but don't put on any weight. And I went, maybe Hannah's going to be like the Stapletons. But
when did you get this realisation?
Today. Literally just today. I went, maybe she has Paddy's genes and not mine, and she'll be one of those girls who can eat whatever she wants and she'll be fine.
You'll hate her.
Yeah. So, but it's taken me 17 months to make that realisation, because I'm constantly saying she's not. But then you will agree, she eats loads, like the plates of food she clears.
Yeah.
But then if there's one day where she leaves some, I'm like, she's not eating enough.
Yeah.
And and she's not, and she's too skinny, and
this is my constant battle, Dee. She's fine.
I know. And she is fine. So I don't want that for her at all. Healthy relationship with food.
So the few things we do every week, so let's talk about them. So say me and you are going out, and remember, listener, I know a lot of these answers, but for the purpose of this, do you have a favourite restaurant?
Yeah. So it's Hugo's in Dublin. We went there on our first weekend away together. We went to Dublin on our first weekend away together. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. First weekend away together. It was for my sister's 30th. My sister Siobhan, her 30th. And we stayed in a hotel. And I don't know, you had gotten the recommendation on Hugo's, I think.
We knew the owner's brother.
The owner's brother, yeah. And we went, and it was just fabulous. Between the location, it's right across the road from O'Donoghue's, the coolest bar in the world ever.
With the finest pint of Guinness in Dublin.
And one of the finest pints of Guinness. Finest barman ever in Cavan. And it was directly across the road from O'Donoghue's. The colour of it's painted like a duck eggy blue before duck egg blue was really cool. Really darkly lit, kind of French bistro, really cool music, really cool staff. We got a really cool table.
Yeah, in the window.
You knew the owner's brother, so we were really well looked after. But I think even without that, it would have been just as fab. The food was amazing. And every single time we've gone back, it has been just, even though it's actually changed hands, it's not the same people.
Yeah, I think there might have been a change in ownership, yeah.
But it's the same. You know, there's always some lovely waiter or waitress we end up having chats with. And
telling us about the wine of their home country.
Yeah, and you know, it's just, it's fabulous. I love it.
And the venison is to die for.
I love it.
And other than that, say now me, you and Hannah are going to go and grab a bite to eat on a Sunday or it's a Sunday really.
Yeah, I love Inside Out in Slane.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We discovered that. I say we discovered, I don't mean it like that, as in it came to our attention. Was I pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started going there maybe because we don't live that far from it. I really like it. Really, really like it. The food is really good and it's good value and all of that.
And I mentioned at the start all our food adventures from Lou Reed in New York and getting children around the kitchen by Nevin. Is there any meal that you've had either with me or without me that stands out to you?
Yeah, well, lots, to be honest. Like way
But if you had to pick one.
Way too many. Yeah, when we went to that Blue Smoke in New York.
Oh yeah, wow.
That was
Blue
so
Smoke.
cool.
Blue Smoke is a jazz bar.
And barbecue. Joint.
It was the first time I had an amazing meal, and from start to finish I never used my knife and fork.
It's definitely where you're in your 20 questions, your knife and fork
or fingers
came from. 100%.
We had ribs for start, a big platter of a load of different kind of ribs. Then,
do you know what's crazy? I actually don't remember what I ate, but I just remember the experience.
Sorry, we had wings for starter.
Yeah.
Then we had a big platter of a load of different ribs, and then for dessert we had cupcakes, but we were so stuffed we brought them home.
Oh, that's right.
Amazing meal.
Yeah.
Amazing meal. And you mentioned earlier on about Christmas. You love Christmas.
I love Christmas.
You love food at Christmas.
I love food at Christmas.
And we a couple of years ago started not having turkey or ham either.
Yes, that's right.
What do you like? What's your ideal Christmas? What do you like at Christmas?
Well, I just love loads of food.
Okay.
And I love ceremony. And what I do like, and I suppose this is what I would love for the future, is for Christmas Day to start and finish with food.
Okay.
So one thing actually I didn't mention when we go back and flip-flopping here, you have always been a huge champion of this, is John Sloan's smoked salmon and scrambled eggs on Christmas morning. That was one tradition that never ever wavered. So we might have not done the turkey and ham and all of that when I was growing up, but Daddy made smoked salmon and scrambled eggs every Christmas morning. But again, Christmas morning, you were talking maybe about 11, 12 o'clock. That was another thing my friends could never understand. We didn't eat till about 7 or 8 in the evening on Christmas Day.
Whereas everyone else was eating about 3.
Whereas everyone else was on their selection boxes and their desserts at that stage, or half asleep on the chair. I was only getting my starter. And
we just have a glass or something with the champagne.
Yeah, so obviously me, I was only small, so I would have orange juice put in a champagne glass. And then my parents and my sisters, because they were, there's 11 years between my oldest sister and me, and then 7 years. So like when Neve was 17, I was 7. So there was she was big drinking, well, not drinking alcohol, but she would have a glass bubbles, and Siobhan, they might mix it with orange juice, and then Mammy and Daddy would have bubbles, and that might be at 11 or 12 o'clock. And I love that. We've kept that going. Yeah. And that's
it's one of the reasons.
Important.
I mean, sometimes we want Christmas to ourselves, sometimes we don't. But it's always, can we go to your mum and dad's for the Christmas morning? And I think I'm gonna bite the bullet and ask John for the recipe.
Yeah.
Because
it is. I don't know what it is. I've never had scrambled eggs like it.
Scrambled eggs. It's smoked salmon. I think there might be a little bit of cream in there, but it's
loads of butter.
It got a mention in my wedding speech.
Yeah.
That's how good it was.
So yeah, that's what Christmas Day would be for me, for us, is I wanted to start and finish with food, and have a late breakfast. And, 1 year, I don't even know if we were even married or engaged. I'm awful with timelines. But we had mussels for starter.
Oh yeah.
But we had it at like 3 o'clock, and then we didn't have our dinner till about 7.
We may have had a snooze.
We may have even had a snooze in between. It shouldn't. Christmas to me is not that big, and I get it. I get the ceremony, and it's lovely, and it's great fun, and all of that. But for me, Christmas Day is where there are no rules. You just do whatever you want. You just chill out. Have a glass of wine at 11 o'clock if you feel like it.
It's that one day a year.
It's that one day of the year, So yeah, that's what Christmas Day going forward would like to be. I would like it to be like.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So what about junk food now? I mean, I know you ate a lot of crap when you were younger. Junk food now? Are you?
Oh yeah, devil.
Really?
Yeah, love chocolate, love crisps.
What about takeaways?
No, never been. Even back then, I was never really that into takeaways. I grew up in the country, like the country. My dad drove and my mommy didn't drive. So when daddy was gone to work and he would go to work early and not be home, that was it.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as taxis. We were 10 miles outside of Kells, the far side of Carnaross. So you were just home.
So you couldn't get takeaways?
You couldn't. There was no such thing as getting a takeaway, so we just always cooked for ourselves. Yeah. And then I think that just followed me even when I moved into towns. The last thing I would think of, but it's not a snobby thing at all.
Just wasn't
just wasn't part. I will always just find something in the press, like whether it be a toasted cheese sandwich. I would quicker have a toasted cheese sandwich than ring for a takeaway.
Yeah. Even when you live in the town.
Even when I lived in the town.
Just habit.
Yeah, it was pure just habit. As I said, it just wasn't on my radar. And then I would go to maybe like some of my friends' houses and we would have, the chats and we'd get a takeaway. And it would be like, oh my God, oh yeah, I can just get a takeaway. It was
just purely not in your head.
It just was not in my head, but it was their Saturday night treat. They did it every Saturday, whereas I never did that. And now we're back in the country again. And so it just doesn't apply to us. And plus, I do live with a very good cook. So why would you bother?
Well, if I'm not cooking, if I'm away for the night, I take Hannah and we go and stay with my mum or we go and do something and you're here on your own.
Yeah.
What are you going to cook for yourself?
Probably something like pasta.
Okay.
Something easy. Or maybe an omelette. I love an omelette with loads of veg in it and cheese on top and maybe toast. But something quick and easy.
Nice and simple.
Nothing
a slave over the stove when you finally get a few hours to yourself.
Yeah, but no, I don't like slaving over a stove. I like creamy pastas. Like I love Cajun chicken pasta. So if I have pasta, chicken fillets, and like creme fraiche or cream, I'll just whip that up. And it's a real. If I'm here on my own, I'll come in to the sitting room and curl up on the couch and eat it out of a bowl off my lap.
And watch crap TV.
Yeah, that's what I would.
And if you had to choose one ingredient that you couldn't live without, something that, your life it's important to your life, or it's something that you have to have, what would you pick?
Eggs,
okay.
They're amazing. They are the most versatile thing in the world. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Omelette.
Literally, you can make anything with eggs. I just think they're fantastic.
So if you have a few eggs in a pantry, you can cook something.
Completely.
You won't go hungry. Very good. And if you had to get rid of something, if there was an ingredient that you hate or that you're fed up with or you just don't want it, what would it be?
See, this is a tricky one because going back to what I said a while ago, there's nothing really I won't eat.
Okay.
And there's nothing I hate. There's nothing that turns my stomach. But something I find very overpowering, and I suppose it would be kind of maybe along the lines of like, the corianders and stuff like that. Once it's mixed well into something, it's fine. But if I can see it and smell it, and it's just overbearing.
What is it?
So it's ginger.
Ginger,
yeah. The smell of it. And it's got that fuzzy texture. It's kind of got hairs on it.
Okay, this is surprising because I use ginger.
I know,
but
you chop it up fine, and it's done with chili and garlic and ginger and soy sauce.
I've seen you eating ginger nut biscuits.
That's different. I was pregnant. They were for my indigestion.
Okay, be gone, ginger. Okay, that's some fun chat there about food. It's God, we love food. Let's talk about drink.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first ever drink?
No. Oh, I do. Sorry. Yes, I do. It was with Jenny Kavanagh, my best friend in the world, my oldest, dearest friend. We robbed a can of Heineken from her parents' press.
A can?
No, I can't remember whether it was one can or two cans. And we went down the road and we brought an orange with us to disguise the smell when we came back. I think we were about 13. Yeah, and we shared a can, one can, half can, I can't remember. But yeah, a can of Heineken. I can see it. It looked like a can of Coke.
The little squat ones, yeah.
The little squat ones, yeah. And it was under the press, which was where the telly was.
And were you worried about getting, you must have been worried you'd get caught at 13 years of age.
No, because we went way far away.
Okay.
And we didn't take it to get drunk. We were just like, I wonder what this tastes like.
And did you like the taste of it?
I don't remember being
disgusted,
but I don't remember being like, yummy.
And do you remember your first time drunk?
I think it was, I'm sure I was drunk before this, but my first memorable time of being drunk was the Millennium. Millennium? Is that how you say it?
2000.
Not millennial. Millennium. It was, in the Gaelic Centre, the GAA Centre in Kells, they had a massive big 2000 party, and I was drunk. Yeah,
What were you
definitely
drinking?
drunk. I think vodka.
Okay.
I think it was like vodka and blackcurrant or something
Easy,
random like that. Yeah.
And did you enjoy it?
I remember having great fun. I remember there being loads of dancing, and it was 2000, like we were ringing in a new century
So
and
it
a
was
new
buzzing.
year. The place was buzzing. I was there with another really good friend of mine and her parents, so we weren't, it wasn't like we were sneaking drink or whatever. Because in 2000 I would have been 16 maybe.
Yeah.
I think I would have been going.
Quite average for her.
Yeah. So I wasn't like ridiculously falling around the place, but I just remembered that feeling of
Giddiness.
dancing and giddiness. Yeah.
Very
yeah.
good. And say you walk into a pub now, and I hope this answer doesn't take as long as you usually take to order a drink. What are you ordering in a pub?
Oh God, I am the worst.
Oh, I know.
See, I love wine, and I love white wine in a pub because it's just cold, and I love it has to be a nice glass, and it's cold, and I love the condensation.
But is that no
running
more when you're
down.
sitting with the gals?
It is a bit. See, this is why I have multiple personalities when it comes to alcohol. So I love.
That's not a good thing.
I know, like I love Bulmer's Light, but it depends on if it's sunny outside. If it's raining, I will not order Bulmer's because Bulmer's to me is sunny.
Sunshine, yeah.
Wine, I love. Prosecco, I love. Gin and tonic, I love.
But you walk into a pub, your first drink of the night, what are you having?
Probably a bottle of Corona.
Okay. I've if you've ever gone out for a beer with Dee Stapleton, it's a good thing Guinness takes 119 seconds because it takes her easily that to decide what she's going to drink, and after she's asked 7 different people what should I have. Do you have a favourite pub?
Ryan's Gormalock.
Ryan's Gumlock, our local.
Yeah. Oh no, I have loads of favourite pubs. I love Ryan's in Navan. I love O'Donoghue's in Dublin. I love the Royal in Navan. I love Birmingham's.
See, we should probably say we're recording this in the middle of the global pandemic that is coronavirus. And at the moment, all the pubs are closed. But by the time this comes out, they're a day away from opening.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to getting up to Gormalock, which is our local Gormalock in Stackallan. And we're going to pull our own pint of Guinness like we did 3 years ago on our wedding day.
Yes.
Do you have a hangover cure?
Oranges.
Oranges.
Or orange of any variety.
Is this tied back to you bringing the orange with your first can of Heineken?
Maybe. Do you know, I've never actually made that connection. But yeah, orange juice. Or I remember one Christmas, I can't remember, I must have just been at a Christmas party or a work night out, but it was around the Christmas time. And we were living here and you were working in the restaurant, so you were gone because obviously Christmas was a mental time for you. I was so hungover. And there was a net of oranges. So, how many's in a net?
6, 8.
I ate every one of them.
Wow.
Every single one of them.
Peel and all.
Well, no. But it was just the juice and the refreshment. And I was a new woman.
Vitamin C.
Yeah, and ever since then, orange is my go-to. Club orange juice, actual oranges.
Super splits?
No.
Not ice cream.
Not with the cream, no.
Okay, I think as usual, hangovers is where we will leave it for the first half. So we're going to go and top up our wine glasses, and we will be back to you in a couple of seconds. Welcome back to the Chopping Block podcast, where my guest is my amazing wife, Dee Stapleton. So every week I ask my guests for a recipe. It can be something they cook or something that they love having cooked for them. I'll then take the recipe, cook it, and share it all on my Instagram story. Now by now you should know I'm not a chef, so it could go completely wrong. But whatever happens, you can watch along on my Instagram story. I'm under a little bit more pressure than normal this week, as for the first time ever, my guest will be trying what I've cooked. So Dee, what have you got for me?
I don't really have a recipe, but I have a dish that I want you to cook. So this is a dish that I wish I could do really well.
Right.
But I've never just gotten it just right. But I'd like it to be my signature dish.
Okay.
And it's a chicken curry.
Right.
Okay. I just feel a chicken curry on the hob. I'm imagining Hannah when she comes in from school and she's like, "What's for dinner, Mammy?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's chicken curry." And she's like, "Yay, made chicken curry. Or if her friends are coming home from school with her and they're like, oh my God, it's Hannah's mum is making chicken curry. I want it to be like the best. The way I feel every mammy has a certain dish that's, you know.
So you and Hannah, and what day is it? Tuesday? Oh, chicken curry day!
Yeah, but I can't make a nice chicken curry.
Oh, you've made nice chicken curry.
Oh, they're okay, but they're either too stodgy or too spicy or too watery because I get afraid and I add too much liquid. I just can never get the right... You know the way when you go, let's say, to the Headford.
Yeah.
And you go and you queue up at that carvery and you see the chicken curry. And it's just the perfect colour, the perfect texture. The rice is fluffy. Everything just and you're like, yes, I'm going to have chicken curry half and half.
Okay.
100%.
So this is less a recipe, more of a guide.
Yeah. I don't really have a recipe for you.
Okay. Well, talk me through what you would normally do. And
What I would normally do is I would chop up a white onion and garlic and I would fry them off together.
Okay.
Then I would chop up the chicken or make the butcher chop it up for me because I'm lazy. Sear that in the pan until it's all covered. Then I would add in, you know, I do like to get vegetable into my curry because, you know, a lot of times when you do get it in a like the likes of a hotel or anything like that, it is just chicken and sauce.
But you want your veg in it.
But I want veg in it. Whether you grate it, because I remember I used to make curry for our brother-in-law who doesn't like vegetables, but I'd have grated carrot, grated parsnip, grated sweet potato, and he wouldn't even know that there was vegetables in it. So whatever you do to get the vegetables in there, because if you don't want it to ruin the look, not ruin the look, but if you want that,
or you're trying to sneak vegetables in,
or you're trying to sneak vegetables in, do whatever way you want it. And then I try and make up a curry paste. So this is, I suppose, going back to my Weight Watchers days, is there's that McDonald's curry sauce in the red tub. Weight Watchers used to have a table at their meetings when you used to walk in, and it would have certain things on it that were really, really bad. So really high in points, high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt. So you would have the likes of super noodles, you would have cans of Coke, you would have jellies, chocolate bars, and you would have McDonald's curry sauce.
Really?
It is awful. It's laced with sugar and salt.
Even though it's probably in 90% of those.
Yeah. So, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything against it, but it'd be very easy to make a really homemade curry with that,
yeah.
But I want it to be on the more healthy side.
Okay.
So I try and make up a paste with, you know, just the curry powder that you can get in like Tesco or Aldi.
So it's kind of like your mixed spices already.
Your mixed spices already, but it just never gets to the right consistency as much as I try. And then sometimes I'll add coconut milk if we're going for more of a thinner curry.
Okay.
But again, then it's too thin, and you know, you pour it over the rice and the rice, it just runs everywhere. I want, you know, the picture perfect where you have your
thick brown sauce.
Yeah, so you have your, I remember Daddy, because again, Daddy would have been a curry man. I should actually just ask Daddy for the recipe. But anyway.
Bit late now.
I know, yeah. He, it would be that traditional thing. I can see him doing it for 100 plates. Ladle of rice. Then you get your ladle and you make a well in the middle of the rice. And then you get your other ladle and you spoon your curry into it. And the curry sits perfectly into that little well that you've made in the rice. It doesn't run ever. But it hasn't run out. It's thick in consistency.
Is it that it's been sitting there for a while?
I don't know.
Or cooking for a long time and
this is what I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe am I not letting it cook long enough? Am I starting to cook it at 5 o'clock and serving it at 5:30? I don't. This is what you need to find out.
Great. So yeah.
And then I'm going to take all the credit for it.
Okay, and the question for me, so I've cooked a lot of things. Some have gone wrong, some have gone right, but eventually I've got them right. I have never been able to cook rice.
I know, you're brutal.
And the weird thing is, rice is one of the most common, probably the most common ingredient in the world.
Yeah.
Pasta, rice, the staples of life.
Yeah.
And I can't cook rice.
No,
so,
I can.
Yeah, I know. So I wanted a recipe for rice that's foolproof, that I'm going to be able to do this weekend, and it's going to be lovely and fluffy and soak up that lovely curry that we're
Yeah, it's easy. It's the absorbed. It is. Well, okay, if you want to be really easy, get the boil in the bag rice. and
It's
pop
your
it.
recipe, you tell me.
No, pop it in a pot. You can do that. I buy the boil in the bag rice for you because you can't cook rice.
The amount of pots I've burned.
Yeah. So it's the absorption method. So it's 1 cup, whatever cup you want to use. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a particular size. But just remember that rice doubles, even triples. So when you're using your cup, don't get a big ginormous Friends Central Perk cup because you'll have enough rice to feed about 40 people. So a cup of rice, 2 cups of water. Put it in a pot, add a little bit of salt.
And what? Stir it, leave it?
Leave it. Stir it every now and then so it doesn't catch, but the rice will just absorb the water. And check it. If your water is nearly gone, but your rice is still a little bit hard, add a little bit more, but a little bit. Don't add another cup.
Right.
Because that's when it goes stodgy and yuck. So add a little bit.
How cool would it be if for the first time ever I was doing this recipe for this and the rice was nice and fluffy?
Well, it will be.
Yeah, hopefully.
Have faith in yourself. And put the lid on. You need a bit of steam.
Okay.
To keep the moisture in it.
And just keep checking to see, and when the water's all gone, it's done.
Well, but not necessarily. So you need to check it. You know, especially if you're working with electric versus gas. You know, an electric hob, because you don't really know how hot that is.
Okay.
You can't turn it up and down as easily as you can do with gas.
So funny. I've made lemon meringue pie. I've made,
everything.
Yeah. I can't cook rice. And that's the worrying part, not the curry that you don't actually have a recipe for that I have to perfect.
So, onions and garlic, whatever veg you want, chopped up chicken.
It's the spice mix.
It's the spice and the sauce and the consistency of the sauce.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I say that every week. I don't think this one will actually be fun.
It will be.
That'll be an experience. So I put up my Insta story. Hopefully it'll go right. I have a feeling this is the first one that could be a disaster, but we'll see how it goes. However it goes, it'll be on our Instagram. It'll be up on... Actually, this week's a little bit different because we're celebrating our anniversary on Saturday night. So there's not a hope in hell I'm going to be up to put up a story on Sunday. So on Monday morning we'll have the highlights of this one up. So keep an eye on Instagram. Okay, let's finish off. We're coming to the end. This has been quite enjoyable. But let's finish off with, this is all about you. This is your perfect meal.
Okay.
So it's a bit like your death row dinner, but it's a little bit happier because you're not going to be executed the next day.
Great.
So as a guide, I'm going to give you 3 courses, drinks to match, but you can do anything you want with it. It's your meal. You can have whatever you desire. You can have your own cooking. You can have your dad's Christmas morning scrambled eggs and smoked salmon. You can have my beef Wellington. You can have aperitifs, wine, cocktails, a big pint of milk. The only thing I'm pretty sure you're going to have is cheese, but the choices for the rest are endless. So Dee, what have you got on your menu?
Okay, so my starter.
Hold on. I know you're having a drink first.
Oh yeah, obviously. So I'm going to have a gin tonic.
Okay, any gin in particular?
Yeah, Dingle my favourite.
Gin.
Yeah.
What, slice of orange?
No, lemon. Just lemon and probably lime.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like lemon and lime. Loads of ice and tonic. I'm not really fussy.
Big goblet glass or small glass?
Oh, I like the goblet glasses.
Goblet glass, okay.
Yeah, just because I like loads of ice. It's not that I'm particularly into the fishbowl thing, but you can just fit more ice in.
Okay.
Because I like it cold. And whatever tonic, I'm not like, it can be Schweppes, it can be Fever Tree, it can be the Aldi equivalent of tonic. It actually doesn't bother me. Maybe it should bother me more, but it doesn't. So yeah.
We won't tell the gin influencer you said that about the tonic.
Sorry, Alan. Dingle gin and
Okay.
tonic. Yeah, yum. And then I'm going to have garlic and chili prawns.
Oh.
Yeah, with maybe little toasties on the side. You know when you get the little triangle toasties that have been done on the grill, so they have the burn marks.
Yeah.
But really, really thin, like flatbreads almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Melba toast nearly.
Yes, yeah, but with the scorch marks.
Okay,
from
and the prawns,
the
the
grill.
full Dublin Prey balls, heading them the whole...
No, not that I've anything against them, but like way too much effort. No, just give me someone else do the hard work. Just give me big giant tiger prawns.
Oh.
And you know the way when you go to a restaurant, and I get it, money and all of that, you sometimes get like 3 or 4. I want 10.
Okay.
So like 10.
It's your perfect meal. Have whatever you want.
Because they're really low in calories and they're not that filling. So give me
so
them all.
even in your perfect meal, you're thinking about the calories. What are you going to drink with them?
A Prosecco.
Okay.
Yeah, I do love Prosecco. I love bubbles. They just make me happy.
Good.
Yeah.
In a big long champagne.
Yeah,
flute
a
glass?
big long champagne flute glass. Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
so you're having, and I suppose the bubbles are good with the heat of the chili. And
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got your prawns. You've eaten all 10 of them. You haven't given me any. I presume I'm there for your perfect meal, am I?
Oh yeah, why not?
So you've
Only
cleaned,
if you choose meal correctly, so I can rob half of it.
so you're gonna clean the bowl with your bread.
Toasties, yeah.
Yeah. What are you gonna have next? Are you gonna go to main course? Are you gonna have anything in between? Are you
No, I'm just going to go to main course, but I'll probably give it maybe 15-20 minutes because I'll finish the bottle of Prosecco.
gonna- Okay.
So let that, I do like that. It's only like 4 glasses. So I'll probably have 2 with my starter and 2 while I'm waiting on my main.
Okay.
And I might, because I'm quite slow drinker until I get going. So I might still have a bit of gin and tonic as well. So I'll be like trying to finish all these drinks.
Purely just to work up an appetite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for my main, I'm going to have surf and turf.
Okay.
So a big, gigantic fillet steak and surf. But because I've already had prawns, I'm going to have lobster
Oh yeah.
as my surf. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How are you having the steak cooked?
Oh, medium.
Medium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just medium,
And
yeah.
a full lobster, half a lobster.
No, it actually, I went to America with 2 very good friends of mine that you then stole, but they were my friends first. Many years ago, before we were a couple, and we went to Vegas as part of that trip, and we went to, again, brutal. If the boys were here, they'd be able to tell me the name of the restaurant. I want to say like the Rainbow Restaurant or the Rainforest Restaurant.
Brian and Alan, get in touch. Let us know.
Yeah, sorry boys, I don't remember which one it was. And we went all out.
Yeah.
All out. The boys dressed in suits. I got really fancy dressed up. We were with friends of Alan's from Vancouver. It was all very cool. We had a really cool round table in a massive buzzing, pure Vegas. Imagine, picture Vegas. And I had a lobster surf and turf. And it was just a lobster tail. So I think I would just go with the lobster tail again.
Just butter.
Just butter. Yeah.
Well, and steak.
Yeah, and steak, yeah. Maybe some asparagus on the side just for a little bit of vegetables.
Spuds?
No.
No spuds?
No.
Nice.
No.
Sauce with steak?
No.
Just
No.
good meat.
Just, yeah.
Good lobster.
Delish.
And I know earlier on, like you said, eating with your knife and fork, but with a lobster, you got to get stuck in with the fingers.
Yeah, I suppose. It's those kind of things I don't mind. I wouldn't mind. It's like, if you have rack of lamb, you have to pick up the bones at the end.
So you've eaten a big medium fillet steak
Yeah, with red wine.
with red wine. Oh, sorry, I never asked. What are you going to drink?
Red wine.
Any red wine in particular?
Probably Malbec, just because I wouldn't be a great wine connoisseur. This is where you're definitely, when we go
This is the use I have.
Yeah, when we go to a restaurant, I'm like, yeah, whatever one you pick, I trust you. But Malbec is probably the one I know, and I know I like it.
Yeah,
so,
especially with steak.
Yeah, well, does it go with steak? Great.
Yeah, good big punchy, rich.
I would also drink Malbec though, just sitting and watching the telly. So, it's irrelevant really to me.
Okay, so you've picked up your lobster tail and you've literally licked the shell.
Yes.
All the butter is gone. You've eaten your steak. You've had your asparagus. You've finished your wine. What's next?
Well, I'm going to have one dessert and then something else.
Okay, I have a fair idea what something else is. What's your dessert?
So my dessert is just a chocolate fondant, done with the big oozy middle.
So when you cut it oozes.
Yeah, so it looks like a pudding or a sponge on the outside, and then the fork goes into it and all the chocolate
Melts.
dribbles out, and it's so yummy with just vanilla ice cream on the side. So yummy. And more red wine to go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you finish that and I'm going to say you're going to have cheese.
Yeah. Cheese board.
What are you going to have? What kind of cheese?
Oh, so cheddar.
Yeah.
I love smoked cheddar.
Okay.
I do love smoked cheddar. I would have cheddar and smoked cheddar or one of each.
Okay.
I love that one. It always reminds me of the wine tastings that we used to do. Is it a porter? It's the marbly one.
Oh yeah, it was you nearly think it's a Guinness cheese.
Yeah, but it's not. I think it's called
porterhouse?
I think it's called a porter cheese. I love that one. If I knew what it was called, blue, Boyne Valley blue, obviously.
Yeah.
And I love brie. I love camembert. Literally all the cheese. Give it to me, and crackers. Maybe I love quince paste or figs.
Grapes.
grapes, you know, and more red wine.
More red wine. No port.
Yeah. No.
Dessert wine.
No.
Just more red wine.
Just more red wine, yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And then is that it? Are you gonna have a drink before you finish?
No, I'm gonna probably comatose at that stage. That's where I struggle actually. You know the way if you're out and you've done a big meal like that, and then you go to if you're staying in a hotel, you leave the restaurant and you go to the bar. I never know what to drink after that.
See, that's where you need to get into whiskey.
I know, and the want for gin and tonic is well gone at that stage.
Yeah.
I've had my fill of red wine because I probably drank 2 bottles already to myself at this stage. I'm not going to go on beer. I just and that's where I generally just go, oh no, I'm okay, thanks.
You know your limits. Let's go.
Yeah, and then stuffed.
Very good.
Absolutely stuffed.
Fucking good meal. Pardon my language. Surf and turf for lobster tail, yes. Okay, so that's us done.
Yes.
This has been brilliant. It's been a lot better than I expected to be. I didn't get given
thanks.
out. I didn't get given out to once.
No, you're about to. Thanks for that.
So for you, the listener, thanks for staying with us to the end again. If you like what you heard, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Castbox, iHeartRadio, and YouTube as well. And if you're feeling generous, leave us a review. It'll help get the word out, and give us a good rating. We're across all the usual social media platforms too. Just search for the Chopping Block Podcast on your favourite and you will find us. Dee's Yummy Mummy's Chicken Curry is now on my Insta story. Actually, if you're listening to this Sunday, it's not. If you're listening to it Monday, it is. As it's our anniversary this weekend, we're going out to the Headford, where we got married, and we're going to have a lovely, long, lazy dinner. Maybe with a surf and turf or a lobster tail if they can organise first. And then on Sunday morning, we'll be having a well-deserved lie-in for the first time in a long time. So I won't be able to do an Insta story. So yeah, keep an eye for Monday. If you want to give it a try, cook it, take a photo and share it. Tag the Chopping Block Podcast in it, and we'll show it off to all our followers. So that's all from me. Thanks again, Dee. As usual, spending time with you is such a joy.
Oh, no problem.
Farewell, everyone. Stay safe, and we will chat to you next time on The Chopping Block.